Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's tutorial, I will be cutting and sewing the pattern pieces which I drafted in a previous tutorial on my fabric. The link for the pattern drafting tutorial will be above and in the description box below. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothings Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you. So I have here all the pattern pieces which I drafted in a previous tutorial. These three pattern pieces will be cut on a fuchsia pink lace fabric. Note that these three pieces are for the front of the blouse. So I will write F on each of the pattern piece to demarcate the front so as to avoid confusion later on while cutting. I also have here these four pattern pieces which I will cut on an African print fabric. These four pattern pieces are also for the front of the blouse. This pattern piece is for the back of the blouse, which I will also cut on an African print fabric, and this is a puff cap sleeve pattern. So now I've already cut these four pattern pieces for the front on an African print fabric, as you can see. I used 1/2 inch seam allowance all through. For the side seams, I use 1.5 inches side seam allowance. I have also already cut out these three pattern pieces for the front. On this fuchsia pink lace fabric, I cut one piece each. So because the lace fabric has a lot of holes and it's also very stretchy, I cut out the pattern also on the same African print fabric which I'll be using for the outfit. This will act as a support for the lace. You can also use the lining for this. So I used 1/2 inch seam allowance all through, except for the side seams where I use 1.5 inches side seam allowance. I also cut out the same three pattern pieces on this black lining fabric. As you can see, I use the same pattern to cut out the lining pieces also. I've already interfaced the lining and also padded the lining fabric. So I will now set it aside. So this is for the back. I cut two pieces for the back. I used 1/2 inch seam allowance all through, except for the sides where I used 1.5 inches side seam allowance. I also cut out two pieces of the pattern on the black lining fabric. This is a puff cap sleeve pattern. I cut 4 pieces of it on my African print fabric. I have a tutorial for this on my channel. Its link will be above and in the description box below. So these 3 pieces are for the front. I have underneath it the African print support fabric. The wrong side of the lace is on top of the right side of the Ankara fabric. I will now go ahead and stitch the lace to the Ankara pieces like this, using about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. After doing this, I will go ahead and stitch the 3 pieces together along the princess line using 1/2 an inch sewing allowance. I will also go ahead and stitch the lining pieces together along the princess cut using 1/2 an inch seam allowance also. So for these 4 pieces, I will also go ahead and stitch the pieces together along the princess cut. Using 1/2 an inch sewing allowance. I won't be joining the center together because this is where the decorative zipper will be inserted. So now I've joined all the front pieces together, as you can see. I've also pressed open the seam allowance. So this is how the fabric pieces will be layered on the blouse. The fuchsia pink lace will be on top of the lining fabric, while these Ankara pieces will be on top of the lace fabric. This stone decorative zipper will be used for the blouse. I'll be making use of these 2 pattern pieces to know where to place the decorative zipper on the blouse. So I will place it on the fabric like this, and I will trace out the shape with my tailor's chalk. For this second piece, I will also do the same thing. I will trace out the shape using my chalk, but the pattern piece ends here. But remember that when I was drafting the pattern, I came down from this princess point line by 2 inches. So I'll measure and mark 2 inches downwards, and I will connect the 2 points together. I've already made the position of the zipper bolder, as you can see. So as to make the sewing process easy, what I will do is to make use of my needle and thread to tag the decorative zipper in place along the lines that has already been marked on the fabric. So now that has been done. So as for these 2 pieces of African print fabric, I use interfacing along the curved edge so as to stabilize the fabric, as fabrics tend to stretch when they are cut, when the cut is curved. So this piece is meant for this side, so I'll place it on the lace fabric like this. I will now go ahead and tack it in place, following the 1/2 an inch sewing allowance used when I cut out the fabric. I also place this other piece on the lace fabric like this. Then I'll place it on the lace fabric like this. Then I'll flip it over, and I will also unstitch in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance, just like I did for the other side. This side is more likely to give you more problem while sewing because it is more curvy than the other side. But tacking in place first will make the whole process a lot easier. So now that has been done, as you can see. So I will now go ahead and stitch it in place on my sewing machine. But first, I will change my machine foot to a zipper foot like this. So now that has been done, as you can see. I will now go ahead and join the main fabric piece and the lining together at the neckline using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I place the two pieces together like this, right sides together. I will pin in place. I will stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance on my sewing machine. These are the back pieces. I've already stitched the darts in place. I will also go ahead and stitch the main fabric and the lining pieces together, right side to right side. I place the two pieces together, right sides together, and I will pin in place. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now that has been done, I will now place the back pieces on top of the front piece like this, right sides together. I will open up the shoulder seam and I will stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. But first I will pin the two pieces together like this. So now that has been done, as you can see, I've joined the shoulder seams for the front and the back together. So I will now measure the waistline of the front, and this gave me 19.5 inches. This is because we are about to cut the full circle flay for the front and for the back. So the front waist is 19.5 inches. I will also go ahead and measure the back waistline. I place the two back pieces together like this, side to side, and I will measure what I have. I will measure the back waistline. And what I have here is 24 inches. To get the radius, I will divide the values I got above by 6.28. This is because I intend to cut a full circle flare for both the back and the front, making a total of 720-degree peplum for the outfit. So this is the fabric that I intend to use to cut the front flare. So I'll fold the fabric into two. I fold into two like this. Then I will fold again. I'll fold again like this, making a total of 4 layers of fabric. So I will now go ahead and measure the radius that I calculated earlier like this. I will also measure the length of the flare. I will now go ahead and cut it out. So this flare is for the front. So I'll be cutting open just one side of the full circle flare. So this is the piece that I'll use to cut out the circle flare for the back. So I will fold the fabric into two like this. I will also fold again, making a total of 4 layers of fabric. I will measure out the radius which I calculated earlier like this. Then I'll measure out the length I want for the flare. I now go ahead and cut out the flare like this. So this flare is for the back. So I'll be cutting open the two sides such that we have two pieces for the flare. I will go ahead and cut out the flare on the lining fabric as well. So this is the front flare with the right side facing up. I will place the lining fabric on top of it like this, right side to right side. I'll be using this crinoline at the hem of the flare. So I will go ahead and pin it like this to the hem of the flare. I will now take it to my sewing machine and stitch in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I will do the same thing for the back pieces as well. Now that has been done, as you can see. So after sewing, I understitch the seam allowances to the lining. So I understitch the seam allowances to the lining. As you can see, this will keep the crinoline in place. So it's now time to fix the peplum to the bodice of the blouse. So I'll place the peplum on the bodice like this, right side to right side. I will pin in place like this before taking it to my sewing machine and stitching in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I do the same thing for the lining piece as well. I will be sewing fabric to fabric and lining to lining using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So I will also go ahead and pin the lining of the fleat to the lining of the main bodice like this. I will stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now that has been done, I've joined the lining to the upper bodice and also the main fabric to the upper bodice. As you can see, I also did the same thing for the back as well. I will now go ahead and fix the zipper. So now the zipper has been fixed. I will now go ahead and join the side seams together. I will also go ahead and fix the puff cap sleeve to the armhole. So now that has been done, as you can see. This is the final look of the blouse. So that's it, guys. We are done. Do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in my next tutorial. Bye and thank you for watching.